I broke up with my partner of 3.5 years 6 months ago now. Just 1 week after we broke up, I moved to dreary, wintry London alone and started the most difficult but healing journey of change. Death to rebirth, mourning the death of us, of who I was, of the girl who cared more what other people thought of her than what she thought of herself, and doing it fully with the commitment of zero contact with him, adopting celibacy, and really feeling all my big emotions so that I could make sure these lessons were properly learned for when I eventually entered rebirth. I hope this video inspires you to listen to your gut feelings and actually act on them, even if it seems like the most terrifying thing you can imagine. Because you always know what's best for you, even if you can't see why now. Nowadays I just wake up and cry. I've realised that my dreams show I feel very alone right now. Like in the dream I was just lost and alone and uncertain. I just felt weak and rubbish. I feel so scared coming into this move. I feel like I've lost so much more than just a partner. It feels like I've lost my best friend, my rock, his whole family, our entire imagined future. Like hands down, this is the hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life. My entire life, just know I'm gonna have to be so brave. But even when it hurts so much, I've never questioned that it is the right thing to do. I know it is the right thing to do, and so I must keep going. My first few months in London were some of the saddest and loneliest of my life. I cried almost every day. Most of my closest friends don't live on the same continent as me, so I had to find new community, and it felt like every time I thought I was getting better, I would wake up feeling worse. London was not kind to me in that time. The city churned on as it always did, happy to leave me behind when I didn't want to clock into the desk for 9 AM or laugh and drink away my problems at after-work pub drinks. On days I was alone, I would go for a walk and desperately smile at strangers on the street, hoping for a reassuring nod or a thin-lipped British smile of acknowledgement. But I learned never to hope for a smile back. I was to become my own source of comfort, for I could not rely on the busy honking streets or the high-walled strangers. And in a sense, I'm grateful for London's harshness. It hammered home that this growth journey was one I had to undertake alone. No one could hold my hand through the emotions I needed to trek through in myself. I could try and distract it away, but eventually I'd have to do the inner work myself. And because I chose the city that is the epitome of capitalism, career climbing, corporate girl bosses, and suited and booted finance bros, and never feeling enough when there are still to-dos on the list, I was forced to stare at all my old workaholic patterns in the face, and to resist the temptation to just work away my feelings, to not just bandage my ego with some sexy new achievements, to finally say what it has taken me years and years of therapy and deconstructing my values to come to the conclusion of, that non-doing is just as important, if not more important, than doing. So perhaps my first piece of advice to anyone going through a breakup is to do less and to be more. Say no to taking on extra work, extra projects, extra social life. Just sit with yourself more, allow things to come up. Even if they're uncomfortable, that is where the real growth happens. Whenever you feel driven to action or distraction, ask yourself what feeling you're avoiding. And lean in. That's where you learn the lessons. My first spark of joy came from leaning into something that I knew my ex didn't really understand, and that I had avoided exploring because I feared his judgment. A world so esoteric, so despised and feared by mainstream Western society that exploring it could only be an act of radical self-love. spirituality. I'm talking astrology, mantras, and most importantly, tarot cards, the hobby and practice that has become most sacred to me in my healing era. I studied tarot like I'd study for my GCSEs, diligently learning the cards in the major and minor arcana, their historical representations, attending queer tarot workshops, and learning how different illustrations affect the reading. Nothing has made me feel more myself in this period than tarot. As something divisive and taboo, choosing to practice it felt like choosing something for me and only me. I increasingly don't care what other people think. The last 6 months, I've also re-fallen in love with my body. I challenged myself to grow out my armpit hair, which is crazy that this is like tiny rebellion in this world, considering it is a non-action. But I wanted to challenge myself to find confidence beyond the mainstream beauty standards. I started giving myself temporary tattoos, exploring my self-expression in new ways, dressing differently, trying on new styles, and leaning into my queer identity, fostering my queerness through my self-expression. I don't know if any of you relate to this, but there's something oddly empowering about wearing an outfit that you know your ex would not find attractive. I think subconsciously it's so easy to dress for the male gaze, to dress flattering, but it's so empowering to dress just for you. Around a similar time, the universe sent me 2 gifts. 2 mysterious gifts that I didn't even know I needed. The first, I received a mystery package in the post. Guys, it was so weird. It wasn't addressed to me or even to my address. It had no name, no traceable features. I checked with the neighbour, it wasn't theirs. I checked with my mum to see if she'd ordered something, but nothing. It was just there through my door. And so I opened it, and it was a book called The Artist's Way, a spiritual path to higher creativity. I got chills. If you've never heard of it, this book is a 6-week workshop meant for times of burnout, where you're forgetting who you are, or when you want to get back to your most authentic, highest path. Everything I read felt like it was speaking directly to me. Like the universe had somehow gifted me these exact tools at the exact time I needed them. So, ever since, I started a practice that the book recommends called morning pages, where upon waking up, you brain dump your train of thought for 3 full pages without stopping. And guys, that is not easy. 3 pages is a lot. Sometimes you just don't want to write. But every time I do, it always clears my head. And in this case, it helped me befriend any of the lingering self-destructive thought patterns that I had after the breakup. So, I don't know how I got that book, but I did, and I thank the universe every day. The second gift came one morning when I felt compelled to go to a cafe at 7 a.m, which I rarely do, and I had a lot of work to get done, so I was trying to focus, when suddenly I noticed an older woman sitting next to me, hunched over her book with an endearing magnifying glass, and I saw that she was reading a book called The Untethered Soul. This is a miraculous and rather niche spiritual book similar to A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle, and no matter how hard I tried to focus on my work, I just couldn't help but feel this deep need to say something to her, and so I did. I closed my laptop and I told her that I liked the book, and you know what she said? Sit down and I'll read you a passage. That forged the beginning of my much needed local friendship with Mary Jo, an 85-year-old spiritual teacher and therapist specialising in times of great change. Can you believe it? I started going to her house for weekly tea and she made me feel so seen. She lent me a book called When the Heart Waits, and it gave me a metaphor which completely redefined my healing journey. It compared times of great change to a caterpillar wishing it could just become a butterfly. Once we've set a change into motion, we expect to click our fingers and spread our wings. But you know what has to happen in between? You must go into a cocoon. And the cocoon is actually where all the growth happens. It's where the butterfly's wings are formed. If you were to force open the cocoon before the caterpillar was ready to come out, you'd find only a half-formed butterfly with undeveloped wings. So, Even though it might not seem like the cocoon is doing anything, it is actually the most important part of all. And so rather than wishing away my heaviness, rather than craving the day that I'd eventually feel happy or myself again, I chose to make peace with the waiting. Okay, so the irony of filming today's video, for the first time in 6 months, I checked my ex's Instagram page. That's a red flag. I would never check an ex's Instagram page. I think it's not good for the healing process, and I've been very good at avoiding it. But one of my friends, in her well-meaning but potentially misguided way, was like, "Oh, Jade, I saw him with another girl on his Instagram," which no one wants to hear. No matter how much you've processed things, no matter how much you've come through it, you never want to hear that. And so I couldn't help myself. I went onto his Instagram and I saw him with this other girl, and I stalked her because that's what you do. And on my way here, I was reflecting on it and kind of noticing the feelings that came up. And there definitely is a sense of jealousy. There's a sense of comparison. But I also know how I felt at the end of that relationship, and I have to honour that I made the right choice and that he's free to be and do whatever he wants to do, and I genuinely do want him to be happy. And if that means meeting other people, then I really wish him the best. I wish him the most nourishing of people in the world. I hope good people come into his life and continue to bring him joy. And as I was sitting here meditating, I did a metta meditation, which is where you send well-wishing to anyone. It can be a stranger, it can be an enemy, it can be to yourself, it can be to a family member or someone in need. But you really cultivate this goodness and you send it to them, and you wish this person no suffering, you wish them peace, you wish that they get everything that they could ever want in their life, you wish them to be happy. And I held him in my mind during this meditation, and it really cleared any of the anxiety, jealousy, lingering feelings that I had when I first saw his Instagram page. And I thought to myself, you know what, let's pull a tarot card. I've got them here because I wanted to shoot a dramatic photo of the death card. And I asked the tarot, what does spirit want me to remember right now? And I have the 7 of Pentacles. In this card, you can see that he has been tending to his garden. Pentacles represent stability. So this is kind of, he's got a lot of stability. 7, we're kind of higher up the deck. He's really made an effort to cultivate this kind of material, foundational wealth and success. But in this image, he's not working. He's taking a moment to kind of admire everything he's built and grown. And the message of this card is to admire how far you've come, to take a step back and look at all the incredible things that you have achieved. And obviously, if I'm thinking about this in the context of my ex and my breakup, I've really come a long way. I've really come a long way. The fact that I can even see his Instagram and not burst into tears, obviously you're going to be sensitive to content of your ex, that's natural, but I really do wish him the best. I really mean that with unconditional love and goodness, and I've come so far. I feel like I'm standing in my power. I feel like I'm where I need to be at this point in life, and I'm so proud of myself. I have created a lot of stability within myself. The core of me is good right now. Oh, I'm literally crying. I just feel like I've come so far. I moved to this city in the worst state I've been in such a long time. And now I just look at myself and the city so differently. Of course, nothing's perfect. I'm still not fully healed, and I still don't fully love London. I've really come a long way. Thank you so much to every single one of you who has supported me through this journey. You made me feel less alone. at the time of my life I felt the most alone. I will always be so grateful for this corner of the internet. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. If any of you are going through a breakup, have been through one recently, or are thinking of entering one, I just want to send you so much compassion and strength. I think that relational issues challenge us more than any other challenge in the world. They get down to the fabric of who we are. They expose all of our unhealed patterns, our insecurities, our fears, our hopes and dreams for ourselves. But I really hope that no matter what, you keep going deep within, you keep nurturing your inner world, and you keep listening to your intuition. Because you always know what is best for you. Even if you feel like you don't, you do. You do. You are suppressing some feelings. When you strip everything back, your gut knows what you want and what is best for you. So listen to it. And don't be scared of the unknown. Don't be scared of the uncertain. There's so much good growth here. Found happiness again. Promise that whatever you're feeling right now, it will pass. It will pass. All states are impermanent. Embrace whatever you're in right now. It's all so good. It's all so beautiful. It's all learning. It's all part of the human experience. And I promise you will feel joy again. You will have a crush again. Happy summer. Happy rebirth.